Hello and welcome to the Millionaire Power Couple Summit. I am excited about our next keynote speaker. This is a man who needs no introduction. His name carries so much weight and it speaks volumes. But Dr. Fraser has insisted for 40 years there be no sizzle reel of his life's work and purpose until there was something to quantify and sizzle about. He was born in 1945 in Brooklyn, New York, to a troubled family of 11 children. After serious mental health issues with his mom, at 2 years old, he and 6 of his siblings were orphaned, then put into toxic foster homes for a total of 16 years. He was not considered to be college material, so he was sent to a vocational high school and got a diploma in carpentry. The rest is history. Dr. Fraser has always believed it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's how that God has a great plan for each of us. We must simply listen for his voice, follow directions, overcome the obstacles, and stay the course. Dr. Fraser's favorite line from super rapper Drake is, "Started from the bottom, now we're here." Here is 75 years of life in 120 seconds.
We just want to welcome Dr. George Fraser to the Millionaire Power Couple Business Summit. Dr. George.
How you doing, my brother? Good to see both of you again. I just love you, Eric and Sakeisha. You guys are serving our people, and you're serving our people by being an excellent model of family and marriage. And I just love that. We so need that in our culture. So thank you for inviting me back. And thank you for giving me this very precious time in this very important conference. And I hope that I can serve, and I hope that I can add some value.
Oh, we appreciate you, Dr. George, for coming back. And we're just blessed to hear your wisdom. So you have the floor.
All right. I'm going to talk about 6 things from a 30,000 foot view, if you will. I'm going to talk about marriage. I have to talk about marriage. I've been married 47 years to the same awesome sister, so I got to talk about marriage. I'm going to talk about business rules. A lot of us are in business either quarter time, full time, or part time. So I'm going to talk about my fundamental business rules that has guided me over the last 40 years. I'm going to talk about rules of life, the rules and principles of life that have guided my, in quotes, success. Finally, I'm going to talk about the obstacles, because there will be obstacles, thank God. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way, because the obstacle is the way. Make no mistake about it. And I'll close with the 3 most productive periods of our life. Now, some of these things I've said before. You've heard me touch on them in other talks, but I think they deserve repeating. In fact, that's the key to learning, if you think about it. The key to learning is simplicity and repetition. We've got to say it 50 different ways on 50 different days. I'll close with a very simple offer to everyone who was smart enough to join the conference and watch this video, with a very special offer to the Power Networking Conference, virtual conference that is coming up August the 11th to the 14th. And I'll combine it with the live conference next year, which I'm very excited about. It'll be our first live conference after 3 years since COVID in Houston, Texas. And so we're excited about that. So it'll be a combination offer. So let me get started. There's so much to say and so little time to say it, but I'll do the very, very best I can. Let's talk about marriage and what sustains a marriage. I think that is the most important institution in our culture, as family is, I think, the most important institution in our culture. And we are in a sense, in a state of disarray. And I don't know of any culture that has succeeded over the long haul without family being at the center of that success. We cannot do it alone. We have to do it with life, with and through other people. And the first biggest decision in terms of key relationships in our life will be our decision and our choice about the partner that we commit our vows to. What does the vow say? The vow says, "Till death do us part." Well, that is one heck of a statement. All I'm really saying to you is to really think about who your partner is going to be. It is the most important decision you will make. Not only your partner in life, but if you have a partner in business, that's the second biggest decision you will make. I think I made the right decision for my partner in life, Nora Jean Fraser. We are 47 years in, and it's been an incredible ride. And there is no question in my mind or in Nora Jean's mind that I would not be where I am today had I not had the kind of support, the kind of wife, the kind of love, the kind of inspiration that she has provided me over 47 years. Other than my sister, the person that has been in my life the longest. So make a wise choice. People ask me all the time, Dr. Fraser, what is the key to staying married 47 years? And typically it's in a social conversation, so I only have time to give people one thought. And that is answered with one word. And that word is amnesia. Yeah, amnesia. There's stuff that's going to happen in your life. There are things that are going to go wrong. They're going to go left. They're going to go right. There's some stupid things that each partner will do. My advice to you is to forget about it. Once you discuss it, once you resolve it, once you moderate it, once you come to an agreement, bless it and release it. Don't keep talking about the same dumb stuff that perhaps you or she made 10 years ago. Resolve it, bless it, and release it. Forget about it. Move on. Life is too short. You don't have a lot of time. It's like I blink my eyes and 76 freaking years are gone. 47 years of marriage are behind us. So don't stew or waste any time on the mistakes that you made. Just learn from those mistakes and grow. So that would be I think, the single most important thing that has allowed us, both Nora Jean and I, to sustain that relationship. The second thing, I call these marriage sustainers. These are the things that will sustain a marriage. Listen and then respond. Let me say that again. You notice there was a pregnant pause between the two words. Listen and then respond. Try to understand the words spoken and the words not spoken. Respond intelligently. Listen intelligently. Let me say that differently. Listen with your mouth and speak with your ears. What comes out of your mouth should be a reflection, an accurate reflection of what you patiently listened to and thought about. A thoughtful way to respond. Listen, be patient, stay quiet, don't interrupt, and then respond. That'll help sustain a relationship. The third thing is give each other some space. This is critically important. You don't want your wife up under you 24/7, and she doesn't want you up under her 24/7. And if you happen to be partners in business, this is even more important. The ladies will go out with the ladies. And even some ladies, my wife has a group of ladies that she takes mini vacations with. I know them all. I've been knowing them for years. The fellas, I have a group of guys. I'm a golfer that I take mini vacations with. We go on golfing trips. It might be 3 or 4 days. Give each other some space, not only outside of the house, but inside of the house, if humanly possible. Is there a space in the house that the husband or the spouse can have privacy? Watch what they want on television, whether it's sports or whether it's soap operas. Give each other space, outside and inside. The fourth thing is random acts of kindness. This is important. These are small things that I do occasionally by surprise. Something as simple as, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, it snows a lot. I'll clean the snow off of my wife's car without her asking me. Occasionally, I will bring her flowers or chocolate. So if I see something I know that she likes, I would get it without calling her and asking her. Most of the time, I hit the nail on the head. And there are times that I miss the mark. But these are random acts of kindness. How many times each day do you tell your wife that you love her, or that you hear from her that she loves you? There probably is no conversation that you should have on the phone or in the house when you're ready to leave, that you just simply say, I love you. Very, very important, because it's all about love. And you can't start it like a car, and you can't stop it with a gun. Every single thing we do is so that somebody will love us. the clothes we wear, the successes that we attain, the food that we cook, it so that somebody will love us. We have an insatiable appetite to be loved, whether it's to hear it, random acts of kindness. Never stop saying it. Never stop communicating. Don't ever assume that your wife or your husband knows that you love them. Reinforce it. Because if you don't do it, somebody else will do it. If that need and certainty is not being fed by your life partner, somebody smart enough around your spouse will sense that. And they will give that partner what they need. And they know that that partner, every human, every child, every human needs love. So don't assume it. Speak it as often as you can. So those are some of the things that I have done over the 47-year period of time that has sustained my marriage. Now, for those of you that did not make exactly the right choice and you have to do it the second time around, and sometimes it can be better the second time around, for a very simple reason. You know more about yourself. It is sort of crazy to make a decision to connect with someone, to marry someone, to make a vow till death do us part when you're 25 or 30. The average male does not mature until 40 years old. They don't even know who they are. So the later you wait in life, the more you know about you and the better decisions you will make. Women mature much faster. Men don't mature as fast. So extremely important. Make the right decision. Now, let me talk about business, because one or both of you are in business. There's the business of a marriage, very serious business. If you don't get the business of a marriage right, it will destroy the marriage. In fact, the overwhelming majority reasons for divorce is financial. So there's the business of the marriage. Then either spouse may have a business. They may have a business together. They may have a business part-time, quarter-time, or full-time. So you need to have some rules on how you want to conduct your business. I have 5 rules. They're right up here on my wall. I framed them. I've been looking at these rules for about 15 years. My rules have evolved, and I think these are my final rules. Let me tell you what they are. Face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it were. Wake up. Dreaming is awesome, but at some point in time, you got to wake up. What is the reality of your dream? So face reality. Don't make up stuff. Don't try to see stuff that doesn't exist. Look at it through clear lenses when it comes to dealing with your business. Number 2, be candid with everyone. Be candid with everyone. Speak truth to power. You may want to find a way through your emotional intelligence skills to say it gently, to say it nicely, to say your truth with some element of inspiration, but you be candid. Very, very important in business, especially with your business team. Be candid. Number 3, in business, change before you have to. but you will have to change. Nothing stays the same. You have to constantly grow. You have to constantly think outside of the box. You have to constantly be innovative. Don't pay too much attention to the competition. Understand what the competition is doing and what you're looking for when you are evaluating, in quote, your competition is what are they not doing? When I wrote my book, Success Runs in Our Race, 30 years ago, there were already 14 books on networking. 5 of them had been bestsellers. This is 30 years ago. I read all of those books because I wanted to write a book that could compete in a market where there were already 14 books on networking. And what I discovered in reading all of those books, I did my research, is that they had little or nothing relative to the cultural propensities and picadillos of Black people. They really wrote their answers and they wrote their solutions and they wrote their strategies and tactics from a Eurocentric perspective. So my idea was very simple. I'm going to write the first networking book from a Black perspective using historical African-centered stories about how networking began, how it has evolved in our culture and community, and the strategies and tactics that we need to use to effectively compete in cultivating, nurturing, building relationships at work, at home, and in the community. That was my proposal to the William Morrow Company, now HarperCollins. That single idea caused enormous competition between 3 publishing houses that wanted to do the first networking book specifically targeted to Black people. And I wrote about this in Success Runs in Our Race. Because there was a competition and because it was an innovative and creative idea, not the concept of networking, I didn't invent that. I just refined it to make sense for us. That won me a $500,000 advance. Now, this is in 1993. Which would be over $1 million today. A $500,000 advance from a person who has never written a book. Think outside of the box, right? If you don't have, this is the other rule, if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. This is a business rule. If you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. So what does that really mean, Dr. Fraser? It means that whatever product or service you decide to produce, I promise you that there will be a myriad of other companies at some level producing the same quality or the same product or service. What you have to do in the context of the product or service that you are producing is to evaluate, in quote, your competition and then figure out your unique selling proposition, your competitive advantage. What is different about your consulting service versus the 2.5 million consulting services in America? If you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. It simply means is find a competitive advantage. But if you can't find a competitive advantage in your product or service, don't do it. Finally, a business rule, and it's a life rule too. Control your own destiny or somebody else will. But you will be controlled. Either you will be in charge of you or someone will be in charge of you. And what they'll be in charge of you to do is to build the business and earn the millions that they want. You'll just be a contributor to that. And if you're a good contributor, they'll keep you employed. If you're not a good contributor, they'll find someone else who can do it better than you. So if in fact you're going to have a destiny, and let us pray you will, if you're going to have to control that destiny, you probably ought to spend your time, your talent, and treasure building your own. That's a whole another conversation that we must ultimately, by the end of the 21st century, we must become the number one employers of our own people. I'm hoping and praying that that is going to be the case, that we will become the number one employers of our own people. And every immigrant group that has ever come to this country has understood that, but Black people. We have to get involved in business development. There's no question about it. Now, we're moving in the right direction. In the last 5-year reporting period on entrepreneurship by cultural group, produced by the U.S. Census Bureau, we have 2.6 million Black-owned businesses. That's up 35–40% over the last 5-year reporting period. So we're headed in the right direction. We are seeding a lot of businesses. That's the upside. The downside of the 2.6 million Black-owned businesses, only 111,000 of those businesses employ anybody. But those businesses, on average, do about $1.2 million a year. And they employ other people, mostly Black people. That means the downside is 2.49 million of our businesses are sole proprietorships. That's up 50%. And most of that growth is sisters opening new businesses. The majority of those new businesses, those new seeds, are planted by Black women. That's the upside. The downside of that statistic is that the average annual revenue of sole proprietorships is $18,700 a year, which is below the poverty line. And that's down 11% over the last 5-year reporting period. So what's the point? The point, Dr. Fraser, is you grow or you die. You have to plant the seed, you have to water the seed, you have to fertilize the seed, you have to cultivate the seed, and then over time the seed flowers and bears fruit in great abundance. It does take time, and it's not easy. If it was easy, why would God need you? Not easy. There will be obstacles. We'll talk about that shortly. So we must start and build businesses. And we are very innovative and very creative people. We can make a way out of no way. Hell, we made a meal out of chitlins to survive. So we can do this. And I'm praying that by the end of the 21st century, that we will have closed the business development gap, that we will ultimately be the number one employer of our own people. And I think we can do it. Okay? So those are my business rules. Stop this video if you have a chance and write them down if I said them too quickly. Now, let me give you some quick rules of life. Do you have rules for life? Do you have a philosophy? I hope you have goals and objectives. All of these things you should have. Do you have guardrails, things that keep you on track? I have 4 or 5 little guardrails that I run through my brain every day. One of them is something as simple as inspect what you expect. If it's important, check on it. Follow up, follow up, follow up. That's a guardrail because I'm doing a lot of things. I'm employing people. Many people are working virtually. Lots of consultants on our team. They have assignments. And what am I doing? What is my job as a leader is to follow up, inspect what I expect. Make sure that everybody is clear. Everybody's on the same path. What are your guardrails? What are your principles? What are your business rules? What is your philosophy? What is your mantra? What is your mantra? I have a mantra. Again, it's right here. I'm looking at it. I keep those two things, my business rules and my mantra, on my wall. So when I come in every day, there's one other thing I keep on my wall other than wonderful pictures, right? One of those things, I keep it. There it is right there. It says, when all is said and done, more will be said than done. And I keep that in mind every time I'm planning something. Well, what is my mantra? Here it is right here. What we do at FraserNet isn't a matter of life or death. Rather, it is a bit more important than that. That's what I believe about the work that I'm doing. I believe the work that I'm doing, the purpose that God has put me here, is to make sure that everything that I've learned, I can share. There's an old saying, if you see something, say something. Well, I added to that, if you know something, share something. In fact, at 76 years old as an elder, I'm downloading. That's really what I'm doing. I'm in a download mode right now. Everything that's in me, I want out of me before I go into that ground. So how do I do that? Through speaking, through writing. I'm writing another book. This will be my 7th book. I'm downloading my experiences so you don't necessarily have to take as long as I did to get where I am. You can benefit from my lessons. These are really nuggets from my own life. So what are my rules for life? Number 1, see failure as a beginning, not as an end. In fact, failure is not separate from success. Failure is a part of success. It will be impossible for you to succeed without failing, because you will learn far more from failure than you ever will from success. I tell people all the time is I have failed my way to success. My advice to you is fail fast. Get it behind you. You are going to fail. Life is on the edge. That is where life is. That's where we live real life, right on the edge. And then you have to jump off the ledge and grow your wings on the way down. And before you land, there are going to be bumps and bruises. There's going to be failure. There's going to be mistakes. This is where you learn, and this is where you grow. See failure as a beginning, not as an end. Very, very, very important. Number 2, if you don't go after it, you will never have it. I said this a little bit earlier. You can dream about it. You can conceptualize it. You can envision it. You can even be inspired by what you dream and what you envision and what you conceptualize. But at some point in time, you got to take action. You got to wake up. You got to do the damn thing. If you have no money, start with no money. If you don't have the proper training you think you need to start the damn thing, start it anyway and get the training as you're doing it. Take action. Stop pontificating ad nauseum about your vision and dream. No one actually will give a damn other than your close circle of friends. When they will give a damn is when you've actually done it. Now you can talk about it. In fact, one of the things that all speakers should understand is that when you're standing up there speaking about something, what is quietly going on in the minds of the people who are watching you, they will never say this to you. Here's what they're quietly asking themselves. Are you actually doing what you're talking about? Or are you just talking about it? If you're just talking about it, in a sense, you have violated the trust of your audience. But if what you're speaking about is a product of your experiences, and you can tell the stories related to what you're speaking about, you are believable. Not only that, you're inspirational. You can't stand up and talk about climbing Mount Everest if you have never even negotiated the valley to begin the climb to Mount Everest. You got to tell stories. Let me say that a different way. This is a tip. Never speak without making a point, and never make a point without telling a story. You want to be an effective communicator, tell stories. If you don't go after it, you'll never get it. Go after it. Wake up. Do the damn thing. Number 3, always do more than is expected of you. Always do more than is expected of you. In other words, be gangster. I'm gangster. Now, I have some pedigree in gangster because I was born and raised in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn, New York. And they say if you're from Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn, New York, because that's a separate nation by itself, you're either a thug or a gangster. I'm a gangster. But at Fraser Nation and at the Power Networking Conference, we have redefined gangster. It no longer means thug life, not in the Fraser Nation, not with what we do. It means Black excellence, Black exceptionalism. So when I roll up on you and say, gangster, baby, gangster, that means you have done something exceptional. Why is this so important, Dr. Fraser? Because Black people can't be mediocre. Only white people can be mediocre. We saw this the last 4 years in the White House. Could you imagine if Barack Hussein Obama had said or done 1/100th of what Donald Trump had said or done? That brother wouldn't have been elected dog catcher, let alone leader of the free world. We cannot be mediocre. My mama taught me many years ago. She said, Georgie boy, if you're Black and mediocre in America, you better leave, because you're going to be marginalized and you're ultimately going to be destroyed. We cannot be mediocre. We have to be excellent. It's not fair and it's not right, but that's what it is. And we have the capabilities to do that. We are awesome people. We are God's first people. We were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when other cultures were living in caves eating each other. Yeah. We built the greatest civilization that lasted 10,000 years as the first human beings on Earth. It was called Kemet. Now, you probably know Kemet by its Roman and Greek name after they conquered Kemet and renamed it Egypt. Have you ever been to Egypt? Ever been to Cairo? You've ever gone through the pyramids of Giza or the Valley of the Kings and looked at the paintings on the wall? They were Black people. What did the word Kemet mean, Dr. Fraser? It meant land of the Blacks. We're awesome people. Europeans did not come to Africa, pull us out of trees, eating bananas and civilizing us. That's not what happened. We civilized them. In fact, we civilize the world. We're awesome people. We got it like that. So don't tell me you can't do it. You can do it. You just have to want to do it. And if you want to do it, if you can envision it, you can do it. You don't just have to dream about it. I say that not to motivate you. I don't believe in motivation. I'll be candid with you. No one has to motivate me to get up in the morning. And I don't think anyone, especially if you're watching this, has to motivate you to get up in the morning. Now, I can inspire you, and maybe empower you with useful information. But I think those of us that succeed, and there are lots of us, it's not most of us, I wish it was, but there are lots of us, we are self-motivated. We want it, we feel it, and we're constantly learning how to get it, how to do it, how to be better, how to be the baddest on the block, how to be gangster. So, this is huge. Always do more than is expected of you. Don't ever be average. When you're excellent, let me say that a different way. Chase excellence, never chase money. When you're excellent, you will not be able to get out of the way of money. When you're excellent, you will not have to compete with anybody. People will compete with you. You will not have to get in anybody's line. People will get in line for you. Be excellent. And you can do it because it's in your genes. Number 5. No, actually, it's number 4. Teach other people what you know. I said that earlier. Teach other people what you know, especially our brothers and sisters. Teach them what you know. Make a moral and spiritual commitment to give back your ideas, to give back to your circle what you have learned. Teach others what you know. That's why God put you here. He didn't put you here to do your thing and it be a top secret. He put you here and gave you the skills and the thoughts and the ideas and the direction to get to where you are supposed to be, and then to share with others how you did it. So it will take them half the time. And perhaps even come up with a better idea or better ideas. Teach others what you know. Now, number 5. Assume nothing and question everything. You know what happens when you assume, right? You make an ass out of you and me. Assume nothing and question everything. That is called intellectual curiosity. Intellectual curiosity leads to what? Critical thinking. One of the challenges we have in our community is we do not have a critical mass of critical thinkers. That means that we're not reading, studying, like we were born to do. You see what's behind me? I'm in my office. My office, not my home. There are 1,500 books behind me. I read 100 books a year. There are 15,000 books in my life. I have no college degree. I have 3 honorary doctorate degrees because no one thought I was college material. So I went to vocational high school, got a diploma in carpentry. Well, there was another really great guy who was a carpenter. So I'm good with that. So in a sense, I'm self-taught. You can be self-taught too. Commit yourself to reading. You know the old saying about our people, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. Read, brothers and sisters. And don't read for show. Read to be better. Read. Assume nothing, question everything, have a degree of intellectual curiosity, read, and that will make you a critical thinker. Let me say that more simply. In this world, to be successful, you're going to have to be an inch wide and a mile deep in your subject matter expertise. And then you're going to have to be a mile wide and an inch deep in matters of the world so that you can talk about something other than the weather and sports and what's going on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. No one really cares. Read. Get knowledge. It will be impossible to fail. Number 6, make peace with your past or you're going to pay for it. Make peace with your past. The advice I give young people when I speak in colleges and high school, and I tell them ultimately, at some point in time in life, you're going to have to forgive your parents for the mistakes they made in the raising of you. Oh, they made mistakes. They're human. They said some things to you they should not have said. I remember one time, and I had to apologize to my oldest son, Kyle. He did something stupid. I mean, like really stupid. He stole my car in the garage. He was a kid. He was a young teenager, to take it for a little joyride, but he didn't know what he was doing. And instead of putting it in reverse, he put it in forward and ran through the entire freaking garage. He thought he was pressing the brake, but he was pressing the gas pedal. Of course, I was furious. And when I got home and I looked, I said, Kyle, you're stupid. Well, I slept on that. Oh, by the way, I said he was stupid and some other choice words. I slept on that. And then the next morning I went into his room and I apologized to him. I said, Kyle, I have to apologize to you. You are not stupid. You're actually very smart. What you did was stupid, but you're not stupid. And I know you'll do better. So make peace with your past, or you're going to pay for it. Right? There's going to be some stuff in your life, things that has happened to you. You got to bless it and release it, move on. Now, all right, we're getting to the end. Number 7. And I said this a different way. Stop thinking so much and start acting. Thinking is good, but you got to take what you learn and you've got to act on it. You can't go to workshops and seminars and read books and listen to these Zoom presentations all the time, not take notes, highlight the notes, and then pick 2, 3, 4 things you're going to act on tomorrow. Act on what you learn. Critically important. Don't spend all this time and money learning this stuff, sitting at the feet of masters and not acting on it. Finally, this is huge. Never compare yourself to other people. You are totally unique. There is no one that has existed in the history of humankind exactly like you. There is no one on earth ever that has had the same sequence of experiences and knowledge and the combination of relationships and the impact of those relationships on you in that time sequence that you have had. We're all different. You are as unique as your thumbprint. Don't compare yourself to others. And you really don't have to compete with others. You know who you're competing with? You're competing with you. There's only one person I compete with. That's Dr. George Fraser. To make myself better, as you need to do every single day. One step at a time. Now, let me net this all out. You want to succeed? Yes, you want to succeed. That's why you're watching. That's why you're at this conference. You want to succeed. It really comes down to 2 simple things. Now, write this down. 2 simple things. Number 1, be great at what you do. Number 2, be well liked. Now, I could spend 2 hours unpacking each of those. Be great at what you do, number 1, and number 2, be well liked. That's the key to success. And you can have that success. It is not limited to a few. There will be obstacles. But as I intimated earlier, that's what life is about, is navigating and negotiating the obstacles. My favorite quote outside of the Bible, my favorite quote inside of the Bible is, Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That's my favorite quote inside of the Bible. My second favorite quote inside of the Bible is John 5:30, a direct quote from Jesus Christ. And Jesus said, I of my own self can do nothing. Now, this was the Son of God. He couldn't get it done on his own, by himself in a vacuum. So you cannot live life alone. Even Jesus needed 12 disciples, and even one of them turned on him. That's my favorite quote inside. Two favorite quotes inside the Bible. I think favorite quote outside of the Bible is from Marcus Aurelius. And I want you to write this down. I want you to go to Wikipedia when you finish listening to this or watching this and look up the philosophy of Stoicism, Stoicism, the philosophy of Stoicism. One of the greatest books written, one of the 50 greatest books written in the history of the world is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, one of the contributors and co-founders of the philosophy of Stoicism. I'm a Stoic. Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in your way becomes the way. Ooh. Let me repeat that. The impediment to action advances the action. What stands in your way becomes the way. Said another way, more simply, the obstacle is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. Think about that. What is the first thing God does when he gives you an assignment that he feels that you're ready for? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under that obstacle so that you can fail, you can trip, you can fall, you can learn from the mistakes that you make. But you get through the obstacle. And when you do, you get an attaboy or an attagirl from God. And then you get your next assignment at a slightly higher level. And what's the next thing God does? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under the obstacles, to make the mistakes necessary to learn the lessons, to keep you growing in the direction for which you must fulfill your purpose. The obstacle is the way. James Baldwin says it more simply, so beautifully. He says, we are born, we suffer, and then we die. Now think about that. What did he mean by that? He meant the way in which we handle our suffering, the manner in which we handle our suffering, our approach to our suffering, our resolution of our suffering will determine the meaning of the dash between the year you were born and the year you will die. We will all suffer. There will be no exceptions to the rule. It is how we are going to get through life to learn the lessons. It's okay. In fact, if you're trying to do something and something doesn't go wrong, that's bad luck. Good luck is if something goes awry that forces you to look at it differently. Maybe even getting fired from a job. Oh yeah, I've been fired from a job. It was the best thing that happened to me. It forced me to look at the mistakes I made, to look at my life, look at the path that I was on. Why did I get fired? The obstacles are the way. It is a beautiful thing. Embrace them, but most importantly, learn from them. If you do not learn from them, what will happen? You will repeat them. This is biblical. I'm not making this up. This is biblical. Finally, and I'm through. I know I went a little bit over time, and I beg for forgiveness. There was an incredible piece of research that was made public about 2 years ago from the New England Journal of Medicine. The 3 most productive periods of our life. The 3 most productive periods of our life. It was a massive study. And the study found that the 3rd most productive period of our life is between 50 and 60. The 2nd most productive period of our life is between 70 and 80. I'm 76. I'm doing some of the best stuff I've ever done. I'm 76. But the number 1 most productive period of our life is between 60 and 70. The average age of a Nobel Prize winner is 62. The average age of a CEO of a Fortune 500 company is 63. The average age of the pastors of the 100 largest mega churches in America is 71. The average age of a pope is 76. Moses was given his final assignment at 80. Mandela became president of South Africa at 76. Gandhi secured India's independence at 61. Ray Kroc founded McDonald's at nearly 60 years old. Toni Morrison won the Pulitzer Prize at 57, and then the Nobel Prize at 62. And Frank Lloyd Wright, the great architect, built his magnum opus, the Guggenheim Museum on 54th Street and 5th Avenue in New York City. I watched it being built as I was growing up as a child. He completed his magnum opus at 91. So this tells us that somehow God has designed all of us, that the best years of our life are between 60 and 80. This is when you do your best work. The study found out that at 60, you reach your peak of potential and continue up until 80. What am I saying to you? If you're watching this and you're 0 to 49, you ain't done nothing. You just learning. You're just a kid. God is preparing you for the greatest and most productive years of your life from 0 to 49. I don't care how great you think you have done things. Your best years are ahead of you. That's the point. So learn, practice, because that's what you're doing. 0 to 49, you're in a practice. You ever notice that a lawyer, a doctor, accountants have practices? Their professions are very complicated, and they have to practice. And who are they practicing on? They're practicing on you by doing it. 0 to 49, you're practicing. Your best stuff is ahead of you. These are the fundamental principles and lessons that we teach at the Power Networking Conference. This is our 20th anniversary. Forbes magazine named us one of the top 5 conferences in America not to be missed. Not one of the top 5 Black conferences, but one of the top 5 of all conferences produced in this country, not to be missed. Over 1,000 attendees, 50 speakers, 40 workshops, all kinds of interactive spaces, multiple stages. It's an amazing experience. We've got some of the baddest brothers and sisters on the planet that will be with us at the virtual conference. We got to do it virtually this year. This is our 2nd year. We won an award for our virtual last October. Now we're doing it virtual again for the last time. And then next year, we're going to go back live in Houston, Texas. August the 3rd through the 6th, that will be live. And then the virtual is coming up August the 11th through the 14th in about 3 weeks. I want you to join us. I want to make you a special offer. This is a place where you're going to make new friends. You're going to have new feelings. You're going to be a new you. You're going to leave behind, I promise you, your fears, your frustrations, and your old worn out past. We're going to help you make your life a masterpiece. We discuss only 3 things at the conference, all 4 days: business, money and wellness, psychological wellness and physical wellness, because they're related. Those are the only three things that we cover. Best and brightest. Go to powernetworkingconference.com, www.powernetworkingconference.com, powernetworkingconference.com. Look at the people who will be there. The agenda is on the website. Look at the agenda. So here's a special offer. This is a special offer from Eric and Sakeisha. This is for them. This is for you. If you look on the site, you'll see that to attend the live conference next year is $1,500 for one adult and $800 for a student. And we encourage every parent to bring a college-age student, 17 to 25. We should no longer be conferencing in Black America without our children sitting at the feet of our masters with their parents or their mentor or their coach. So the live conference next year is $1,500 for an adult, $800 for a student. That is $2,300. The virtual coming up in 3 weeks, that's $297, a round number, $300. So the live and the virtual is $2,600, $300 for the virtual, $2,300 for the live next year. So you're getting two conferences. I'm going to take $2,000 off. You'll get both of them for $599, both for $599. Now you can't get that by going on the website. That offer is not available on the website. You have to get it directly through me. Very simple. Email me at gfraser, F-R-A-S-E-R, at frasernet.com. gfraser at frasernet.com. gfraser at frasernet.com. That's what you have to email me. In the subject line, put "I'm in." In the body of the email, your full name and your cell number, your full name and your cell number, your full name and your cell number, so I can personally call you. Yes, I will personally call you. We'll chat and handle our business over the phone by credit card. Or PayPal if you'd like. Or Cash App if you like. But we can handle it. So that's our offer. $2,000 off, $599 for the virtual coming up in 3 weeks, and the live next year, which will be the first live that we have had in 3 years. So it's going to be off the chain. It's going to be gangster. Just as the virtual will be gangster, the live will be gangster as well. So that's the offer. This is what the little flyer looks like. This is what I want for you. I hope this is what you want for you. So I want to close this session with a simple prayer. We call this at the Power Networking Conference our ancestral recognition prayer. We close the Power Networking Conference for the last 20 years with this single prayer. May we always remember those who have gone before us. May we be inspired by their vision and their valor. May their lives continue to remind us that service is more important than success, that people are more important than possessions, that principle is more important than power. May whatever we do be shaped and molded by honesty, excellence, and commitment. May our children and our children's children carry forth with pride the nobility of the histories that are represented in this space. To the Creator of all of us, by whatever name we may refer to that Creator, we dedicate our lives to make our world better and more beautiful. Can I get an amen? Thank you very much.